Hey everyone, we're going live.
For a heater. But the people I work with would understand when I start those words because I seem to be living in a different world. But safe to say, we thank you for waking up this morning to come and listen to us. It actually, for us, is a privilege what you are doing. And we want to thank you also for the great work that you are doing out there. And by being here, it means you are in support of the call for us to up our standards and ensure that South Africa becomes the leader in terms of pharmaceutical services, and we are able to be the ambassador and to let all these other African countries to continue learning from us. The way we look at pharmaceutical services, we want to be the leading country, and we have safely done that. By the introduction of the grading system, you will realize that it's something you won't find in Africa, but if you go to internationally, you'll get it there and there. There's a few countries that have already introduced this, and they're a few steps ahead. And I'm sure 5 years from now, if we're still here, we'll be talking about how do we improve on what we have. Safe to say, one of the learned person long time ago once said that you are definitely dying if you are not growing. And I'm sure that we are all here so that we can grow. And based on those ways, Pharmacy Council has came up after 13 years of going, I think it's 15 by now. Yes, it's 15 by now. Going backwards and forward, introduced the regulations were approved a few years ago. And we wanted to use that opportunity to say whatever that we are learning on a daily basis, including today, we can go back and record those learnings, all those reflections, and this will help us to see if we are growing or we are dying. And I'm hoping that with the team that we are talking to at this time of the year, which is the 19th of March 2022, we have already recorded a few more CPD entries. And today, at the end of today, we are going to record a little bit more because we are going to really learn from this team that has been working day and night to make sure that this system works. It's not easy. It is not easy at all, but they've been making sure that this system works. And we're hoping we'll have a conference very soon. And you will be able to see where you are as an RP, where your pharmacy is. Safe to say, at this moment, we have above 60% grade A's. We still have some grade C, and that's why we're doing these workshops, that if you are a grade A pharmacy, continue being a grade A, because we're just using the minimum standards to develop this inspection tool. And if you are a grade C, I think jump that queue and come join the grade A's. And today we're going to make sure that in the next inspection, you get your grading. So I'm going to hand over to my team, and I hope you ask all the questions that you have. We're still going to have many of these virtual workshops. We will cover different topics in those workshops, but we had you during our interaction where you asked that let's talk to this inspection. And now we are here to talk to the inspection. We will go to other sections in GPPs with time. We will talk to the qualifications. I know that there are those questions about the revised qualification, what's happening. We will get there. But we think that while there were these big changes that we didn't anticipate, there were sad stories, there were good stories. This is one of the good stories, that now all of us are on Microsoft Teams and we can talk to you. Over to you, my team, and thank you so much also from the office for the great work.
Thank you, COO. I will take you, colleagues, good morning, through the presentation that we've prepared in relation to pharmacy inspections. My name is Precious Shabangu. I work with Zianda Mfuku in the practice unit of professional affairs at the Office of the Registrar of Council. I just have a few slides to share with you. So the slides that I will do this morning will touch on the legislative background that leads us to conducting inspections, the inspection process as you know it currently, the pharmacy grading methodology, the self-inspection, how to access it and how to complete it, and how do you then research your questionnaire should you come across a problem in terms of accessing the whole questionnaire. And we'll also just go through general information that is available for your reference on the website. So regarding the legislative background, as you would all know, colleagues, that as the South African Pharmacy Council, we are mandated to ensure that whatever services are provided in your different pharmacy practice setting, we are in line with the universally acceptable standards. So in line with the Act, Pharmacy Act, we are there to ensure that you do conduct yourself in a manner that is not harmful to the public. And we do this through the inspections that are carried out. So the inspection process as we have it currently, as I've already indicated, that we schedule and we allocate the inspections to each inspection officer accordingly, who will then come and conduct the inspection on our behalf. We expect that at the end of that inspection, the inspection officer will provide us with a report that will lead to us and evidence provided. We will either evaluate to regrade, or should there be no need to regrade, we will do that. But at the center of this inspection process, we are now introducing a self-inspection. This is a requirement that we have implemented at the beginning of this March, this month, March 2021. And as a result, we're having this discussion today. So as I've indicated, there are processes that should be taking place pre-inspection and post-inspection. So pre-inspection, the expectation is that you would have assessed yourself through the self-inspection that is available on the secure side of the website. And should you be due for an inspection or request an inspection, for example, a training inspection, we will then do our part to assign an inspector to you. So how do you know that you are due for an inspection this year or next year or in 2024? When you go onto our website, you will be able to access this information under Registered Organization tab. And when you click under Pharmacy Inspections, it will then take you to the next tab, wherein there are different options that you can click, one of which is the Due for Inspection tab. And this will then prompt you to enter your Y number, and it will reflect when is your next monitoring inspection due. Now, in preparation for that monitoring inspection, should you find yourself to be due for inspection, or even if you are not due for inspection, in terms of complying with the requirement of the 1st of March of the 1st of March annually, you can access the self-inspection on the secure side of the website. So when you log on using your profile that you would have received as an RP, you log in, and under the practice tab, this is where you will land. And one of the tabs that reflects there on the left would be the self-inspection tab. So when you click on that, it will then prompt you to continue should you wish to submit a self-inspection, or should you be a pharmacist or an RP that has been appointed within 3 months, the expectation is that a new self-inspection will be conducted by yourself. When you click on that self-inspection, the next prompt would be for you to start the self-assessment, and rightfully you should have access to all the sections as per the questionnaire. Just to remind colleagues that this is exactly what the inspector would be having when they do the actual inspection on our behalf. So the questions that you will come across in the self-inspection are exactly what the inspector would be asking you or would be looking for when they come to inspect. So the natural thing to do would be to go through these questions honestly and assess yourself, as accurately as possible, because this is it's aimed at assisting you to actually perform accordingly when the actual inspection takes place, when the inspector presents themselves. So you go through each question and each section, and at the end you would be able to submit that self-inspection. However, since we implemented this system, or the self-inspection submission, we have noticed that some of the RPs, when they go online and they try to access the questionnaire, there is still a bit of a problem or a challenge in terms of having access to all the questions. So the next few slides, I will just talk to how you are able to reset your questionnaire should you have a challenge regarding the questions or the sections not appearing. So for you to be able to reset the questionnaire, you need to click, there will be a tab that says Inspection Grading. So you need to click on that tab, and it will then prompt you to the next button to reset questionnaire. When you click on that reset questionnaire, it will further alert you that if you do continue with the resetting of the self-assessment questionnaire, all the previous answers or whatever you would have captured would then be removed, and you would be able to start your self-inspection from the beginning. So once you've done your self-inspection, and we do indeed send the inspector, for whatever reason we are doing the inspection, there are processes that then take place at the level of the office, including from your side, in terms of what happens with the report that the inspector would have collated for us. So as you can see there, the inspector would have conducted the inspection, duly submitted the report to us. The expectation is that we will evaluate it and we will release your grading based on that. You then get an opportunity to look at what the inspector has noted as shortcomings, and you respond to that, and we evaluate that response, which would be then lead to your final grading. At the end of this, obviously, we do communicate to say we have accepted your improvement plan, or your improvement plan is not accepted, depending on what the reasons thereof. So once the inspector has left your facility, we do implore you to go back onto the secure side of the website, do conduct or participate in the inspection survey that appears under the practice tab. You will see there at the bottom, under inspections or documents, you will have access to completing an inspection survey. This, we do require you to do it at least within 7 days after that inspection has, or within 7 days of that inspection having taken place, so that we are able to actually reflect on how our system is working, how our inspectors are performing, and in order for us to actually improve where we need to. So we do really require your feedback, colleagues. Once you've gone under an inspection, please do go back and complete the inspection survey. And as I've indicated earlier, that when we release your grading, we give you an opportunity to tell us what plans do you have in terms of improving on whatever shortcomings were identified. And you do this through an improvement plan that you submit to us. So this is available again on the secure side. When you have logged in, you can access your inspection report. You can as well click to get your improvement plan and complete it. So with regards to the grading, I'm sure most of you are aware of this grading system that we have in place. So for example, if you're a grade A, you will then fall into the 3-yearly cycle for inspections. And if you're a grade B, it will be a 2-yearly cycle. Unfortunately, as the COO has indicated, we do need to avoid being found to be grade C, because that has a number of consequences, one of which is having to be inspected on a yearly basis, as well as the possibility of removal should you be found to be grade C for more than 2 consecutive times. So this is quite important, colleagues. We do need to avoid to be found to be grade C. And you will be deemed to be grade D should the inspector find that the pharmacy is not operational at the time they visit the premises. I've spoken to this briefly in terms of how you access your improvement plan. So it will show you the shortcomings, and we would like to just encourage you, whatever you put in there, please be able to substantiate it with evidence. The system does allow you to add and attach evidence to what you are actually making reference to as you complete that improvement plan. Again, this is just talking to how you access the improvement plan. And once we've received it, we will then evaluate it and finally respond to you in terms of acceptance or non-acceptance, or what is it that we require of you. So the last 2 slides will basically talk to where you can access information, general information on inspections. Again, this is on the open site of the website, so you can log on there. You can access it on the open side of our website. Some of the questionnaires or the questionnaires that for the different sectors are available there. You can go through them, check what types of inspections can be conducted, refresh on the grading that I've just spoken to, go through what is required of you to attain premises approval, and like it's indicated in the next slide, if you want to further read on what leads to minor shortcomings, major shortcomings, and what is it that is now implied if you are grade C, it's all there for you, colleagues, to read on and be informed. I think I've come to the end of my presentation. Neo or Natalie, I will hand over to yourself for the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Precious. We've got a question from Devon. There are many questions on the self-inspection report that don't apply to our type of institution, so we are unable to choose not applicable, as most questions are only compliant or non-compliant. Thus, we are marked down for choosing non-compliant. How do we answer such questions? Should there not be a not applicable option under each question to accommodate for the type of facility?
I will hand over to the senior manager to answer that one, Natalie. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Thank you, Precious. On the items that are not applicable to yourself, please mark it as complies, but write comments on the comment section to say that you do not offer that service. We take note of the not applicable. The practice committee does review those from time to time. Remember that you get a license. Let's say you are a wholesaler, you are an institutional or community, and the license allows you to one day change your business model to provide all the services that are provided for by the regulations, practice regulations, when I talk to the regulations here. And therefore, the expectation is that when you are providing that service, you would now, one day it may be not applicable, and the next day it may be that it has to comply. So the stance of the practice committee and council itself is that if an item, or rather a matter, is within the services that may be provided in that sector of pharmacy, you are required to at least have minimum those to meet those standards as set out by the GPP. However, as I have said, as an advice, just put it as complies. Don't say it does not comply. But on the comment section, then you write that you do not offer that service, so that it does not bring down the grading. Thank you.
Thank you, Z. What is the current timeline for completion of the self-inspection?
Aziza?
Thank you, Sienda. As Precious said, it's annually, by the 1st of March, we must have a self-inspection completed by the RP. So it's every year. Before the 1st of March, you must have completed at least one self-inspection and submitted that. If you renew RP at the pharmacy, self-inspection must be completed and submitted within 3 months of your appointment. Thank you.
Thelma asks, I have sent my improvement plan with proofs as attachments in October 2021 and no one has responded so far.
Can I take that, Sienda?
Yes, you can take that.
Please submit or send the Y number to council and we will have a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aziza. We have no other questions at the moment. Let's give the attendees a minute to submit questions using the Q&A section on Teams, in comments on YouTube, or in comments on Facebook. If you have any other queries, you can email us at customercare@sapc.za.org or call us on 0861 727200 or 012 319 8500. You can follow us on social media. Our handle is @officialSAPC. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thank you, Natalie. I'm going to use this opportunity to just give a little bit more information, if I may.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you, Aziza.
Yeah, generally on inspections. So I'm going to project. So I'm putting you out, Natalie. Okay, I think it's visible, my screen, yes?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So just a little bit of general information about inspections. We have put loads of info on our website, sapc.za.org or farmcouncil.co.za. Everything about inspections will be found under registered organizations, and you can go to pharmacy inspections. We talk about self-inspections and the inspection questionnaire throughout the presentation. What we have also provided for pharmacists or even the general pharmacy worker or anyone interested in pharmacy is what our questionnaires contain. This is found on the open site of the website under questionnaires, and we have it's really 4 questionnaires per category of pharmacy, and you can go around and play with the questionnaire in your sector. This is exactly the same questionnaire that the inspector would use when conducting the inspection. Also, it's the same questionnaire that you would use and submit for self-inspection. The difference is this one is not submitted. We cannot see it. It's just for your information. Within the questionnaire, you'll see the sections that are applicable to you for community and hospital. There are 26 sections. It will, within each section, you then get to the questions themselves. So what we've given as well is the question and the applicable legislation to that question. When we revised the questionnaire, we removed anything that was not from GPP or any legislation relevant to pharmacy. So if you compare the questionnaire that we used prior to 2020, anything not relevant will be removed. Only the stuff that, and if there is a question that is, like we ask you how many staff do you have, staff members are there or something, it's not evaluated. So that is just for stat purposes. So when you finish each section of the questionnaire, like you would in your self-inspection, you would be able to get a grade for that pharmacy. And like Precious said, please answer as honestly as you can, and you'll get a true reflection of what your pharmacy grading would be. You can print the report and then correct all the or attend to all the shortcomings that have been identified. So when the inspector comes to you, really you shouldn't have any. You should really be a grade A if you've gone through this. Also, you would be prepared for the inspection and the self-inspection that would be submitted to council. The other document I want you to be made aware of is within the overview, we've provided links to certain documents. You can look at the inspection officer's catalog. So although we've divided the inspectors into certain provinces, it doesn't mean that an inspector from another province won't visit your pharmacy. So if you need to identify the inspector or the person walking to your pharmacy, you can look at the website as well. Their pictures are on there. We've also given you the inspection officers their code of conduct. And this would, when you have to do the survey, please, it's also about how the inspector conducted themselves during the inspection. We've offered you the officer's code of conduct as well. The important one is we often get questions about why did I get a grade C, or how did you come up with the grading or the score for my pharmacy after inspection. We've given you the grading methodology document there, and also then the guide to compliance. I hope there's some questions now.
Thanks, Aziza. There are.
Okay.
There are sections that need the inspector's name. What do we fill in there?
It's a test for yourselves. You can just put any name in there if the system allows it. Don't put any. But I think it does require you put something in there. Just any name, doesn't matter. Put your name.
Thanks. Felix would like to know, if I'm working in community pharmacy, am I allowed to work in other areas of pharmacy practice on my leave days?
Repeat that question, Natalie. I'm so sorry. If you work in which sector, which is the primary sector?
Community pharmacy. Am I allowed to work in other areas of pharmacy on my leave days?
Oh, subject to the conditions of your employment, which are between yourself and your employer. You are a generalist pharmacist. That is your qualification. If you've got a BPharm or a diploma in pharmacy, you have been trained to work your scope of practice according to Regulation 3 and 4 of the practice regulations, and all that pharmaceutics and pharmchem and pharmacology and practice that you did study at school. You can work in any sector of pharmacy. And again, I say council will not enter into your contractual obligations with your employer. Make sure have read your employment contract and see what you are covered to do. But just directly onto the sectors of pharmacy, as a pharmacist, you can work in all diverse sectors of pharmacy. Thank you.
Thanks, Zee. If the pharmacy does not sell complementary medicine, do we need the handbook?
Aziza, you can take over that one.
Currently, the requirements that we have put in the inspection questionnaire, it is minimum standards. Yes, you would require a handbook or access to information on complementary medicines. The information may be hard copies or electronic access. Thank you.
Please confirm that the self-inspection deadline has been extended to 1 May.
Madi, please confirm for me if we have sent out that communication, but definitely the date of extension is the 1st of May. Just trying to remember if we did send out the communique properly.
Thank you, Zee. Yes, it has gone out.
Okay, thank you. It is the 1st of May, to the colleague who asked the question.
Susan says, I have completed self-inspection, but seems that I cannot submit it. It doesn't appear under inspection reports on the SAPC website.
Aziza, you can take that one.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it won't appear under your inspection report. The stuff that appears under inspection reports are only the inspections done by an inspection officer. We will get the report on our side. We have talked about it yesterday that we will try and make it available for you to see on your side in due course, but it is a system development. At the moment, you won't see it on your list, but we will be able to pull a report on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Aziza. If the RP or regular pharmacist is not on duty at the time of the inspection, can the RP request that the inspector come back to conduct the inspection? It's very difficult when only a locum is available.
Tianda, you please.
All right, no problem. Thank you for that question. An inspection, as the words say, it is an inspection. During the time of COVID, and I'm going to answer this one slowly because I need to explain a few concepts or principles. During the time of COVID, our inspection officers were then advised to, because of COVID and not knowing whether you'll find the pharmacy is still operational or you are under quarantine, everyone in that store, to call first to come for an inspection. And I'm talking directly to monitoring inspections. Before then, monitoring inspections were never announced because the premise is the fact that the pharmacy must be maintaining high standards of quality, pharmaceutical services, adhering to the minimum standards according to GPP, whether the RP is there or not. Even at the time of the inspector calling the pharmacy to say that they are coming, they are not mandated to schedule a time and a day. They have been advised to just say we will be there in the coming week to conduct an inspection. Now, I imagine this particular scene where you have scheduled an inspection for a Thursday at 10 o'clock and something goes wrong because life is life and you can't be there as the RP. A pharmacist that is there, by virtue that they are pharmacists, they should know what is in the GPP. And number two, if you are handing over, the GPP clearly stipulates the conditions and circumstances under which an RP may not be in a store, and the procedures that need to be followed to properly hand over to whichever pharmacist that will be supervising that pharmacy at the point that the RP is not there. Directly to the question, no, we may not reschedule an inspection in that regard, unless, and that request cannot be sent to the inspector. You can write to the office of the registrar. The registrar would have to make a judgment call. The inspection officers would be conducting that inspection otherwise. So you can't talk to the inspector for a postponement. And it is the registrar that would then make that decision call to say you can go or not go. So colleagues know we are not scheduling appointments to come for the inspection, and I do believe that at some point in the future, because I think now we're at that stage of being immunized, etc. In the country. Yes, COVID may still be there, but that maybe council may change to say we go back to what was before March of 2020, because before then, unless it was a training inspection, all other inspections, an inspector would just walk in. Also to add, a disciplinary inspection, an inspector would never schedule an appointment, will not even call to say, I'm coming in the next week. They are expected to arrive at that point should council receive such a complaint that requires that we conduct such disciplinary inspection. So that is, so please make sure that you are handing over. Make sure that people that are in the pharmacy do know where your SOPs are. If you have electronic access to your reference material, make sure people have access to that reference material. If you have an electronic capturing of your temperatures for your fridges, make sure that whoever is there knows where things are, because it is a snapshot and it is only merely minimum standards which should be followed daily as we are meting out our duties. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from Facebook, Odette van der Walt. We had an inspection in February 2022. After we received our inspection report, we have 14 days to submit. How is the 14 days calculated? Because on day 14, when I submitted our improvement plan, the submission was already closed. To whom can I submit our improvement plan?
Thank you for that. Natalie, can we get particularly the Y number? We can reset that so that the RP is able to submit. So please do take for us the Y number that is very specific, and we can sort it out on Tuesday. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you, Zianda. Is the electronic register alone for Schedule 6 acceptable?
The regulations state that if you're keeping the records electronically, you need to have a printout every month for Schedule 6 medicines, to keep a printout of it.
If the RP is on leave, do we need to write an acting letter to appoint a specific person as acting during our absence?
Yes, you need to delegate your responsibilities to another pharmacist, and you keep a document on your premises on file to say who will be responsible as RP or taking over the duties as RP during that period.
Question from Facebook. Ingrid Duvenaga asks, where can we purchase the complimentary handbook? Can council advise the recommended name, please?
As with the pharmacology textbooks, we don't state any book specifically. or any website. What we have advised is that within your pharmacy, if there are certain types of complementary medicines that you really deal with, but also be aware that people take other medicines with their general allopathic medicines. You need to have access to information regarding the medicine. So have any reference material that you would see fit for your clients, and the inspector will check on that. It can be electronic access as well. Thank you.
Question from Facebook. Diane Charles asks, have you sorted out the submit button yet? I have done the self-inspection and can see the compliance appears in green now, but no option to actually submit. Can you see from your side that I've completed the self-inspection?
Okay. Please submit your Y number and contact details. We have a look at it on our side. But if you're unable to submit, it means that there is one little section that hasn't been completed. There might be one question within a section that's not completed that's preventing you from submitting the whole inspection. Yeah, that usually is the problem. Please just forward details and we will have a look at your one.
Where can I get a complete SOP copy?
Don't quite understand that. What's a complete SOP copy? The requirements for list of SOPs, I assume, and that is on the website. Also, it's in the questionnaire itself. You can just see the list that is required. It's under legislation on the website, the latest list of SOPs that are required. I think it was published as a board notice. I'm not so sure which board notice. If you give me time, I'll have a look. I'll get back there if you want the board notice. But again, it is listed in the self-inspection questionnaire, which you can check on the outside. Let's do that quickly. I think it will be the easiest. I'm going to project.
Yes, we can see you're projecting.
Oh, am I already?
Yes.
Ah.
We've lost your projection.
Okay. All right. So let's go to, again, registered organizations, inspections, questionnaires. Let's just take community, and we're going to start the self-inspection, and it will be written SOPs, I think. There we go. And then these are the list. These are the SOPs that are required, and they are 30 odd, yeah, 35 that you require. So this is the quickest way to access it. Otherwise, you can look at the board notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Aziza. Is there any consideration to re-look at the regulations, continuous supervision of the pharmacy by the RP in the case of pharmaceutical companies where there are no products on site?
Okay, I'll take over that one. It goes deeper than the regulations. The Act states that if an owner, a company who is to be registering its business as a pharmacy, it must have a responsible pharmacist to be registered as a pharmacy. So that legislative review would be something that is bigger. It would call for the minister to change the entire Pharmacy Act for that to happen. And I doubt that would happen anytime soon, because if you have registered a pharmacy, again, as I said earlier, remember, the moment you are a pharmacy, according to practice regulations, you have services that you can offer, whether you're offering them or not. You can offer them based on the nature of the sector for which you are registered. and for those services to happen, there must be someone responsible to the pharmacy council. And remember, the practice of pharmacy is not only about the dispensing of the medicine, but what if, let's say, you are in the space where you are preparing dossiers and all that regulatory that is, and something goes wrong with the dossier that you are preparing, someone needs to still be responsible to SAPRA, to Pharmacy Council, on the activities that have happened in that pharmacy. But yeah, I think that one, we can take it as a note, but let me warn us now that it is highly unlikely that the minister or even the council advising the minister as such to change that regulation to have a pharmacy not having a responsible pharmacist. But you are free to apply for an exemption, and it would be applied that way. But the exemptions, normally council would look at it at, if you don't want to be a pharmacy, then do a pharmacy closure. If you're a pharmacy, you still need to meet that requirement of the Pharmacy Act to have a responsible pharmacist. Thank you.
We had an inspection in September 2021 and submitted a detailed improvement plan. Everything was rectified. However, it had no impact on the grading improvement.
Okay, so when an inspection is done, the only time a grading can change is when another inspection happens. Submitting an improvement plan doesn't necessarily change the grading of the pharmacy. We have a document called conditions under which the grading of a pharmacy may be reviewed. The only time the grading can change is under those conditions listed in that document. It's, for example, if you are found non-compliant in a certain of the non-negotiable questions in the questionnaire, for example, you haven't displayed your license on the wall, but you do have the license. And if you provide evidence that you do have the license and give us evidence also that the license is now displayed by means of a picture, but yeah, that will also be tested in any case. We will review the grade of the pharmacy. So it's only there are 10 non-negotiable questions in the questionnaire, which will result in a grade C immediately. When we in the improvement plan that you have rectified those. For example, if you have illegal stock in the pharmacy, we can't change your grading. That is not allowed anytime, whether you say you're no more keeping unregistered or illegal stock there, you'll still remain a grade C and will be inspected in the following year. But the other issues of licensing, or or the owner, or say, for example, there was no RP registered at that time, and the owner had started the process of employing or registering an RP for the pharmacy, that grade will be looked. But we look at each pharmacy individually and see what information and evidence has been submitted to review that grade. So the information that is provided on any other shortcomings, we just look at that you have undertaken a mandate to correct the shortcoming, and on the next inspection, the inspector will see that indeed you have rectified the previous shortcomings. Also, it will be reflected in your it should be reflected in your the annual inspection, self-inspection that you submit. And we haven't started the process yet, but we will be comparing what you have submitted to us to what the inspection found and what you have submitted to us, and then compare with what is actually done in the pharmacy. Thank you. I hope that answers it.
Thank you so much, Aziza. Colleagues, thank you so much for your time, for making this time. As the COO had said in the beginning, we will be scheduling more of these sessions to go into individual sections of the GPP and just have conversations around it. How do you comply, etc., with the aim that council really is not out to have people being, or pharmacists being grade Cs, but that the premises where we offer our services and together with the services that we offer are good quality and at least meet the minimum requirements, and even more so, even better than what the minimum requirements do require of us as we meet out our duties on a daily basis. Be it you are face to face with a patient, or like myself, you are sitting in an office space, but that the work that you do, it is to better this profession. Thank you once more for the good quality pharmaceutical services that you keep on offering out there, your time. We know that the COVID that was upon us called a lot out of all of us, and every sector of pharmacy was impacted as much as on our personal lives and as our professional lives. With that, thank you very much. Have a good long weekend. Stay safe and be blessed until next time that we meet again on this platform. Thank you so much.